Good day, and I'm very honored to be in your presence today, not only because I can finally talk about things that have in the past landed me in psychiatric hospitals and labeled me as mentally ill, but also because you've been awarded 5 times consecutive Best Hypnotherapy Trainer, and you have been recently awarded by the United Nations for your contributions to mental health, and featured as one of the most influential of the 100 most influential Indians. In addition, the eliminations team just informed me that you have been awarded a new award in literature and education as a hypnotherapist and past life regression practitioner by the Ministry of Home Affairs in India. Congratulations first. And how do you feel about it? And what is the significance of these new awards and their potential impact on both mental health and education?
Thank you so much for this introduction, Roger. This award, of course, everybody wants achievement, everybody wants acknowledgement, and so do I. But most important is that now the governments of all the countries have started waking up and understanding that mental health issue is there. It exists. That is the most important thing that has happened. Yeah, can we just hold on for a second? Roger, please.
Yes.
You can do it. Now it's too late, the interview has started. Yeah, we can not now because I'm already started. And just make sure nobody else has to go now. We'll have to edit this part because.
Yes, if you like to repeat, I will ask just the last part.
I'll repeat
Sorry.
it.
Go ahead, yeah.
So thank you so much, Roger, for this introduction. Of course, everybody wants acknowledgement. Everybody wants people to know about their achievements and appreciation. But more than that, what is important is to understand that whether it is United Nations or whether it is different governments of different countries, they have also started looking and understanding how important mental health has become now, how much we need to work on it, and how much we need the support of the governments to make it happen. So that gives me definitely a sense of achievement and happiness.
Congratulations again. And I'm sure, it's interesting because when you have been awarded 5 times, that means you've started that journey a long time ago. And that means you probably also foresaw kind of the growing need for mental health services. And now, looking at your journey and your credentials, it's a journey that started a long time ago. Why did you choose to enter into this field in the first place?
Roger, I don't know if people will understand if I tell them there was a calling. I don't know. But I was in the fashion industry, a very glamorous industry, working on the physical body of people, making them look beautiful. And then there was a strong calling that this is not what I want. Something else I have to do. So by 2000, I was in it for 27 years. So by 2009, I started getting this calling that I have to start something else. I have to do something else. I have not come on this earth to do this much work. Only I didn't know what it was. It took me good years to understand this was my calling. This is what I wanted to do. Like many people, Dr. Brian Weiss' book, Many Masters, Many Lives, was the one who inspired me to change and bring complete shift in my career.
We are grateful to have you in this field and with Illuminations as well. Okay, so I will start going into the questions that I love asking, simply because, like I said in my introduction, before, like what we label now as science-based kind of contradicts with many things that you do. So I've written this question for me to be as linguistically accurate as possible. So I'll go with it. Past life regression is a method that uses hypnosis to recover what practitioners believe are memories of past lives or incarnations. The practice is widely considered discredited and unscientific by medical practitioners, and experts generally regard claims of recovered memories of past lives as fantasies or delusions. Nirja, my name is Roger Shakhtura. Okay, my family name means boat, and I'm Catholic from the mountains. First, do you find this counterintuitive? Like, I'm from the mountains, and the name means boat. So back in the days, in my ancestral days, they used to give family names according to profession. So they were actually shipbuilders. So, so it started with me using psychedelics recreationally, and then it turned into me finding out that 300 years ago, during a war between the Catholics and the Druze, at the time when my ancestors were shipbuilders in a Mediterranean coastal city in Lebanon called Batroun, my three ancestors were paid money and gold by the Catholic priests to fight the Druze, and the war lasted 15 years. Naturally, the ex-sailors, new warriors, had no more shipbuilding facilities, no skills other than killing, and no war to fight. But the Catholic priests were economically smart, and they employed my ancestors returning from war as slaves in the lands, and they remain as such. And they have lost the freedom to create ships or trade with cedar trees from Byblos, the oldest inhabited city in the world, and which spread the first alphabet in history to China and India, where you come from, in this lifetime. So I'm Roger, previously misdiagnosed 3 times with bipolar disorder and perceived as mentally ill, and the delusional black sheep sailor of my family from Batroun on the Mediterranean against all my legal documents, and who broke an ancestral trauma of 300 years of slavery to Catholicism on November 21, 2021 at 9:11 a.m. 11 in numerology stands for intuition. And then how I knew is because I fell on the stairs and had a cut with blood on my hands. I cleaned the blood and looked at my phone, and I received the message that I won back my parental rights to my daughter, which I have lost due to mental illness. That cut and blood turned the tattoo on my hand from saying, "We are free," to "I am free." And that was the day I knew that I won my freedom back, and that I passed it on to my daughter and her children. Naturally, since I'm a free sailor, I like mermaids. And the basis of my divorce and loss of parental rights was insanity. And I can't do anything for anyone else in my family because they choose to remain in that ancestral trauma. But the change in my tattoo from we to I, and the blood that flowed that day, was the release of my savior syndrome and a growth in my warrior journey. So who are you, Nirja, in this lifetime? And who do you think is delusional? Me or my family?
Roger, I'm
Yes.
glad you are out of that difficult phase of your life where it is sad that we have to fight for our own children because we are just judged and we are labeled that we have mental health issues. But when you talk about who is delusional, let me tell you, none. None of you are delusional or insane. We all have a unique life purpose in every life, and accordingly, we learn our lessons and evolve. Now, whatever are your lessons, accordingly, you attracted the circumstances or events in your life and reacted accordingly. On earth, we live with duality. So both of you are on your journey. Uniqueness has no judgment. You are right for your journey. They are right according to their journey. Right?
Absolutely.
And then you ask me, who am I? So that's a difficult one. Let me try to introduce you myself with what Stephen Fry quotes from Oscar Wilde. He says, if you know what you want to be, then you inevitably become one. And that is your punishment. You are now imprisoned. But if you never knew that, then you can be anything that you want to be and whenever. So he says we are not nouns, we are verbs. So at this moment, as verb, I train, teach, and practice hypnotherapy as a modality to work on mental health. I do not know what I'll be doing tomorrow and who I will be.
Okay. So the reason why I asked this question is because it's related to regression, right? Which is discredited by science. But however, like this, that journey that I told you was a mixture. Like I said, it started with me using a psychedelic drug on a recreational basis, and then it turned into a search that consisted both of an intellectual. So I was searching in the documents, I was searching in the history of the family, I was tracing the bloodlines in order for me to understand that story, right? So that's why I specifically, because I want us to talk a bit about regression. So what do you like? If somebody like me, like, of course, if I went to a psychiatrist and told them that, which I've done in the past, I ended up in a psychiatric hospital, or they look at me and like, you're delusional, right? So for me, if I'm going to say such a story, I would definitely only say it to someone who's I would say qualified in regression, because they can actually make sense of that story in a sense. And my related question is, so this is a solo journey that I did. I never went actually to a regression therapist. It's something that journey that I went on my own and understanding my what you call as intergenerational traumas, right? And I want like my related question. So I've done that, and what I know, because when I was reading about regression and about your profile, it's also linked to reincarnation, and a lot of people like question the concept of reincarnation. Now, according to my self-study, I self-study something called theosophy or spiritual science, and my reference point is a theosophist called Rudolf Steiner, and who died actually in the 1920s. So I mean, what should people make sense of? Like, what is really reincarnation, regression? What are these concepts, and how do we explain them to people? And how does it benefit them to actually kind of go through that such an understanding?
Yeah, see, Roger, regressions are always personal, individual, and solo. Whether they happen on their own or whether it is through some external help or therapist. What I get very anxious is why people are so keen on knowing who we are or who we were in the past. Being present in the here and now is also a good option to be evolved. Having said this, let me tell you that our conscious mind lives in a linear time, which is past, present, and future. But our subconscious mind only lives in our past, in the sense it is the storehouse of all our past. So it has the power to store all experiences and learn from it, and make sure, according to that learning, we can use it in our future for our evolvement or our survival, because our survival is with the subconscious mind. Now, this past can be from anywhere. It can be a past of my current life, or it can be a past from a life which I don't remember now, but is stored in our subconscious mind. Idea is that whether it is past life regression or it is this life regression, we have to focus on the learning, the wisdom from the past and continue our journey of evolving, because that's the only thing why we come on earth, to evolve, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Nisha, I mean, this is my main learning, because like for me, digging in that past was to understand why certain things happen in my family dynamics, why things happen in my culture and in my life. And for me, it's not about really going and understanding more in the past, because like you said, it is about what do we make of the past. For me, it changed my behavior towards my daughter, my communication with her. She's 8 years old, right? So it helped me so much. That understanding of the past is helping me create the future that I want for me and my daughter. And I think and this is a question: is this what you believe is the power of regression? Is to make sense of our past, whether in this life or in past lives, for those who believe in past lives, and to create a better future for, or present and future for ourselves.
Yeah, true. So basically, past life regret, when we talk about past life memories, it is it's our evolutionary memories. We all have evolved. So that is the memories that we have, and we need to know and understand that memory. From there, we have to learn our lessons and make our present blissful and just possible.
And hypnosis basically is the main method that you use in regression in order for a person, for example, sitting with you, to understand that those past memories, correct?
Yeah, yes.
So the main tool is hypnosis.
Yes, it is hypnosis.
Great.
So I can explain what hypnosis is if you want to. Otherwise, yes, hypnosis it is.
You know, why not actually briefly? Because I think hypnosis is also misunderstood. Same like regression. So maybe
Yes.
just briefly, how does that process work? Hypnosis, the process of hypnosis.
Okay, so hypnosis is just like meditation. So what exactly happens with us is, Roger, that between our conscious mind goes linear, as I said. So between our conscious mind and subconscious mind, there is a critical filter which holds all our perceptions. Now, these perceptions come to us according to whatever our conditioning is, whatever our belief systems are, whatever our experiences are, right? Which
Absolutely.
does not let us have any access to our subconscious mind. In hypnosis, what we do is we make the conscious mind little relaxed so that the critical filter breaks and does not interfere with our journey in our subconscious mind. So entering the subconscious mind without touching the critical filter, relaxing our conscious mind is hypnosis. That's it. So
Exactly.
yeah, and the same thing is with meditation. Yeah, it is very unfortunate that we relate or we associate hypnosis with more of the stage shows and more of a show system than using it for the therapeutic modality. We use hypnosis for as a therapeutic modality to go to our past, whether in this life or of any other life.
Thank you, Nadja. I'll move to my second question, which is about the spiritual mentoring that you do. And so I'm also going to read this question. So Alan Watts, a psychology expert and philosopher, says, one mushroom trip is equivalent to 20 years of yoga and meditation. And Terence McKenna, an ethnobotanist and psychedelics expert and philosopher, has met elves, which took him into other realms of existence, showing the way to understanding of the universe and God. Roger has had similar experiences and even recommends science-based approaches to the use of psychedelics. And we know a few that, whether globally, psychedelics are being more and more brought to the surface as tools to access the subconscious mind, etc. So, can you tell me if you do recommend such therapeutic practices as psilocybin mushrooms for spiritual purposes, or for example, LSD for anxiety and depression? And that is actually my question. So these are alternative routes that different philosophers, psychologists are talking about. And I know it could be dangerous, of course, and I know there are other means. So I would like to get your kind of opinion on that, especially that there's a global movement, I feel, in terms of promoting psychedelics as healing tools.
Yeah. So what I understand from your question is how important it is to use psychedelic substances to meet our God, to be with ourselves, or whatever we understand, whatever wisdom we get, right? So let's understand it in two parts. What happens to us when we do yoga or meditation or consume psychedelic? Like I just now explained to it, that in all these cases, we are able to put our conscious mind to rest and go deeper in our subconscious mind, where there is no interference from the critical filter. Now, the filter which has all our do's and don'ts, our limitations, rules, regulations, conditioning, belief systems, anything that stops us from exploring our own selves. All that is in our critical filter. Now, when we find the peace, the bliss, the wisdom which is needed for our individual evolvement, that is in the subconscious mind. So all three things do the same thing. They take you to your subconscious mind, where we have no interference of our critical filter. Job is the same. Now, answering your second question, please understand that human body, through its evolutionary process, is the smartest functioning system ever made. So any chemical or hormone that we need to evolve is produced within the body naturally. So intake of these external chemicals is not the best option according to me. For sure, we have sometimes some internal phenomenon also that can help us to reach that state, and meditations and yogas and hypnosis, they are one of those natural options. However, I also understand, Roger, that we do need external aid of chemicals to balance our physical and mental health. But these medicines are very well researched. When we talk about mushrooms or marijuana or any other so-called beneficial herbal or chemical drugs, they are all in the very early stages of experimentations. So till we do not have the results from the extensive research on this, I think we should adhere to the natural internal resources.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, I think, Misala, I think, like I said, I referenced a couple of philosophers, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there is a lot of research coming up. I mean, even like, for example, LSD, when it was created in the 60s, it was created for a psychiatric purpose, right? So it was actually tested quite well. And I know, for example, that there is scientific use for, like I said, specific conditions, including addiction to drugs. So like you said, I think here in this situation, people have different ways of approaching things, and the most important thing is to get the right information and to have the right knowledge on who and how and what do they want to achieve. So I mean, for me, I'm not like really promoting one way or the other. I wanted to understand from you as an expert, what is your recommendation? And I think you gave me the best kind of answer, is that let's wait and see what research says on these topics. And if people want to try them, let them be aware that there are dangers, same like there are benefits. So I think it's always this topic is kind of always that, ambiguous a bit, and more research is being done on the topic. So I hope we see, whether it's positive or negative, I hope we can read some great outcomes in terms of research soon.
Yeah, we can wait.
Absolutely. Okay, so back to spiritual mentoring, because I positioned that question in terms of spiritual mentoring. So, Ms. Handa, you have been awarded Best Hypnotherapy Trainer for 5 consecutive years, and you're passionate about promoting spiritual mentoring through a scientific approach with programs like Psychosocial-Spiritual Awakening, which is a holistic way to reach self-actualization, relationship engineering, and spiritual parenting, etc., among many. I've chosen these three to kind of ask my question. So can you tell me, like, really, how does this work? Like, how, a lot of people, I think, on a spiritual level are lost and are searching for meaning in their life or a connection with the divine force. So how do these practices actually help? Because I'm really, like, this is really exciting to know, first, that you, as a science-based therapist, where science actually talks about body-mind, you are talking about spiritual guidance. So can you tell me a bit more about how do you do that, and what does it help somebody achieve in their spiritual seeking?
Yeah, Roger. So let's first understand what is spirituality. Okay. Because we have to understand spirituality has nothing to do with religion. This is very clear. Human existence is of mind, body, and soul. We all know it. Now, if we remove the body, what is left is mind and soul. Now, mind and soul together are known as spirit. Okay? And the study of spirit is known as spirituality. So, if you have to be spiritual self, you have to know your spiritual self. If you have to access spirituality, you need to know in detail the soul and the mind. Many times people think spirituality means, oh, when I meet my God. Perfect. I agree. But can you imagine, Roger, a personal God for each one of us, a tailor-made God, tailor-made to our needs and our requirement? How beautiful it is, right? Everybody has their own way to experience their God. So to understand this theory of God or spiritual self, let us check some properties of our subconscious mind first, because that's what I teach, and then the properties of God. And let's compare it for a second. So our subconscious mind stays with us all the time. Day, night, doesn't matter to it. It is with me. Second, I can lie to anyone, but I cannot lie to my inner self, to my own subconscious mind, because subconscious knows all the truth. Third, my subconscious mind stays awake 24/7. My conscious mind sleeps when we sleep at night or even in the daytime, but subconscious mind wouldn't sleep at all, because the subconscious mind has been given the responsibility of my survival. And therefore, for my survival, it has been given the responses of fight and flight. So my survival is with subconscious mind, right? Now let's talk about God. So first, God is omnipresent. Second, God knows all the truth. Third, our birth and death is in God's hand. God never sleeps. So to me, my theory, it is, personal theory is, my subconscious mind is my God. And therefore, when I am in my subconscious mind, I get the same peace, the same wisdom, our same knowledge of our life purposes, or the same bliss. Does not matter how we reach there, through meditation, through yoga, or through hypnosis. It does not matter at all. The unfortunate part is that we have so many perceptions and so many emotions in our critical filter as blockages to reach to our subconscious mind. Through our programs, we change the perceptions, we heal the emotions, and we introduce you to your own personal God. That's your own subconscious mind. That's how all my programs are made.
Ja, this is really beautiful because you know, first, like I said, to begin with, I really believe, like through my personal first journey, that you know, a lot of actually literature links mental illness to the absence of connectivity to the divine. So somebody who's just living in this conscious kind of, you know, intellectual life, I would call it, even in spiritual science that I self-study, it's called intellectual materialism. So when we are living this like life of, you know, just like, you know, going to work and coming home and eating and drinking and going out and blah, 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 with no connection to that divine force, ultimately, that literature that at least I kind of go through indicates a direct relation between mental condition or mental disturbance and the lack of connectivity to that divine force, or a personal connection or understanding of God. Do you agree that, you know, having this, being disconnected from spirit, does have mental kind of outcomes or emotional imbalance?
I personally feel once you learn and know your mind, the real mind, the subconscious mind, if you understand that, you are already very connected to your soul, first of all, because soul is the same for everyone. It is as pure of mine as yours or a child or any criminal. Soul is absolutely good of each of us. Therefore, God never judges us. He does not, in our divine power, if I can get in touch with my God in my divine power, even a terrorist can do it, even a criminal can do it. We all can do it, right? So he has no judgment. So who are we to judge? My question is that first. Once you understand your mind, you will be able to heal your emotions. It is the emotions that don't let us get in touch with our divine power. We all are spiritual beings. We all are here to be in touch with our own spiritual self. That's what we are here for. But because of these emotions, which come because of our perceptions in our mind, in our critical filter, we are not able to achieve it. So once you heal your mind, you will naturally heal your emotions, then nobody can stop you from being in touch with your own divine self. Divine self is nobody from outside, it is inside us.
So like you know, I told you in my introduction, of course, I suffered from a mental illness regardless. And I say misdiagnosed because of the diagnostics process, not because that I wasn't facing some form of mental illness. So for sure, I was definitely facing something which was definitely mental and emotional. And I say I healed. And part of my healing, actually the biggest chunk of my healing, was connecting to that spiritual body of mine and healing, like you said, the critical mind, right? And channeling it in a different direction. Do you believe, I believe that anyone can heal from a mental illness. Do you also, as an expert hypnotherapist, an expert in regression, and an expert in spiritual guidance, do you believe that also anyone can heal from a mental or emotional illness, or you know, whether an illness or, let's say, an imbalance?
It is 90% of them, but point is this: only and only if that person wants it himself. If somebody else wants that he balances his mental issues without understanding his problems without being involved with it, then it is difficult. That's where we need physical psychiatrist and we need medication. But if the person is aware that I have an issue and he is ready to bring a change, then nobody can stop it. But Roger, there are many, many people on this earth whom I meet many times. I used to meet a lot, now I don't, who were not ever announced or diagnosed with any mental health. Still, they were pain to anyone in their life whom they meet, and they are not ready to change. So there is nothing you can do to change them. You have to be ready to change. You have to agree. Then 100% you can be. The change, the shift can come, at least more balance can come. Sometimes, even if you are given medications, with medications, these things, if you are ready to change, can help you a lot to heal fast. The medication also works very well. That's why I never say my hypnotherapy or my method or modality is an alternate medicine. I always call it a complementary medicine. You continue. I'll still work with your mind. I'm working with your mind. Doctors are working with your brain or your chemicals. Together we can do wonders.
Nirja, this is fascinating because, since Reconnect started, we say 70% of mental illnesses can be healed with love, empathy, and human connection. And of course, if the person is, like you said, willing to accept that they can heal and that they utilize the right, I was, like you said, complementary, because when I stopped medication, I actually did two at the same time. So I was working on myself with therapists, with nutritionists, and then I did a withdrawal, a 21-day withdrawal process. And now it's been 2 years I'm off medication, right? So, but the most beautiful thing you said today, that you've increased those chances from 70% to 90%. Which is amazing. So I'm going to quote you on that. I'm going to quote you on that. And this way, I think the best thing we can ever tell people is that they can heal if they choose to, and if they work with practitioners that are trustworthy, credible, and that have the real intention to help them heal. So thank you for this amazing and beautiful piece of information. And you're going to see I'm going to use it a lot, in my cards. And so thank you for this information, because, there's so many people that are diagnosed or misdiagnosed, regardless of what the case is. The most important piece of information that they can heal. And this is the most beautiful piece of information that I have gotten from you today. We said, I don't know, are we playing cards?
Yeah, okay.
Are we? Did you get the cards with you?
Yeah, very close to me. Why not?
Okay, so let me ask the question also, because I've also made sure I made a nice question out of it. So it's about guidance card reading. So we spoke about all that is discredited and illegal. Now casinos are legal in the UAE, but guidance card reading is discredited. Yet you have been awarded Best Hypnotherapy Trainer. So let's do some legal gambling and play cards. And the bet is as follows. Okay, you know what? Let's just play. I don't want to continue the rest of it, because I'm loving that we, kind of that last segment was about healing. But I want to know how the card guidance, what's its significance. But I thought we can showcase it, and I would love to do it with you, because I trust that how you do it comes from at least some form of scientific understanding of it. So I would love, because people are very skeptical about cards and card reading, and they say, oh, this is how do you say? I don't know what the word is. This is like fiction, or something that is, people take so lightly. But I'd like to do that process with you so we can understand more about it.
In India, we call it Babagiri.
Sorry?
In India, what you're saying is fiction. We call it Babagiri. Means something which has no science background behind it, more of a show business or stage show and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Circus, like, street. In Lebanon, for example, in the Arab world, we have, they read in, what do you call it? The coffee cup. It's a small cup.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
after they drink the coffee, they start reading inside.
Yes,
And then
yes.
we also have like card readers. So yes, but never done that in the
No,
context
I have
of
done it
a,
also. So because I really believe in experiencing everything and then making my own um, opinion about it. So I have tried all those things also. It works sometimes. I'm not saying that
okay.
because anything in life, please understand, Roger,
Hmm?
reads your thoughts. Have you ever played a game in childhood where we just put some water and the water will take its own shape and everybody will read what it is. So
Mhm.
a child will come and say, "Oh, it looks like a horse to me," as if a horse is running. The other one said, "No, I think it is like, some very old man. He has beard over here and he's this and that." So what happens is, whatever is your thought, the same thing is like crystal ball gazing. Whatever is in your subconscious mind is what you can visualize and see in front of you. Doesn't matter what the shape or the size is. So I feel coffee reading, crystal gazing, or this, or sometimes, as a child, we used to play, look at the cloud. This cloud looks like an uncle. This cloud looks like a man wearing a hat, or things like this we used to
Yeah.
do and play in
Yeah.
the childhood. So this is all basically because your subconscious mind is connected to your right brain, and right brain is the one which creates images. So for everyone, the same thing has a different image. So yeah, our thoughts are caught, and the same thing is with the cards also. And on my own, I just asked a question about the future of the mental health.
Mhm.
And look what card I have got, and this is the card
Okay.
if I can show you.
Let me do something now. So now I can turn my camera towards you, because
Okay.
and of course we can edit that. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But initially the camera was my side. Now I still see your face.
Yes, exactly, but it's not as clear as before.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
All right.
So should I go ahead?
Yes, please. I can see you clearly. And
Yeah, so as I just was talking about the future of the mental health, since we are talking about it, so I thought I'll pull out a card for that to read. And this is the card I was just showing that I have got. So can I bring it closer to the camera? And you can see celebrations, you can see good emotions, you can see happy times.
okay. Yeah.
So I would say, Roger, that it is a very good news that the topic of mental health is increasingly becoming a living room conversation. And it is becoming a conversation across demographics, which means you could belong to any religion, any age, any political camp. People are talking about it. And I think that this is what this card is showing to us, the win. We are winning. Like with everything else, there are a lot of people who have exploited or who intend to manipulate people. We need to be wary of it, but we must focus on the fact that there is awareness, and people are actively working on it and fixing their mental health. That is important. Does not matter what modality. Yes, if some modality is making you sick or making you codependent on them, then we should avoid it. Otherwise, doesn't matter what modality you use, but the mental health should be taken into consideration. And this is what this card shows to me, that we no longer just obsessed about our physical or social or financial health. I'm glad we are talking about mental health. And then across the platforms, I see people are talking about it. Insta is full
Absolutely.
of it, and I am happy about it. Uh, I just saw that it's becoming a priority, not only for an individual person, even corporates are taking responsibilities for their own people on their personal level. And they're using the resources to work and make their employees' mental health better, which is a very, very good news. And I think that would take us all to a win. And as long as we continue to focus on prioritize our mental health, I think we as a species are going to win. As a species, we are going to win. We are going to evolve. Nothing can stop us. Only it is important to remember that there is no war. There is no war against anybody. There is no war against us. There is no war against any modality. It is the question is light. It's a war of light and darkness. That's all. And let's move towards the light. That's what the card shows me. And let's see. As
You
human
know, I
species,
skipped that part of the question, but I want to just kind of narrow it down. The question was, you know, in the past and until 2023, mental health was so much driven by diagnostics with mental illness and medication. And the question for me was, how does the future of mental health look like as a holistic approach to the human being? And like you said, you know, the answer, you said we are winning, and and I think we are winning. It's like you said, we're not winning against necessarily anybody, but we are evolving. We know more, we know better, and we know that the human being is multidimensional, and we cannot just heal with medication, nor with diagnostics with mental illness, but with healing modalities, no matter where these healing modalities are coming from, as long as they are done in good intentions, right? I'm so really honored, you know, for Reconnect and myself, and to be collaborating with Illuminations in particular, because really, and you know, I mean, I knew a lot about Illuminations, but not as much as I know now on the inside, you know, by you know, hosting you, knowing Dr. Bassam. I know Dr. Bassam for many years now, and we've collaborating a lot. And it's amazing to see that, you know, that focus on education and, you know, even transferring that knowledge. It's amazing to see all these workshops and learning experiences being given to people. So, and this is beautiful because, you know, most centers, let's say conventional medical health centers, would not even transfer the knowledge, right? And you guys are teaching others, the young generation, how to be active healing members in their communities, in their families, and in their societies. I remember Dr. Bassam used to tell me, you know, when people learn, you know, energy healing, which is the basic course, at least they learn how to clean their own energy and the ones that are, you know, close to them, their friends, their families. So imagine we are all helping each other within our families, that not every time someone faces something that they need to go to a hospital or to a center. And this shows, you know, altruism.
yeah,
And I love that about Illuminations, because it's not just a healing center that is wants people to come to it, but rather it is giving the tools for people to go out and help others wherever they can. So and this is for me also the, you know, represents the future of mental health, that we are providing people with the tools for them to work on themselves, not just that they need experts every single time. Of course, there are conditions and there are states that require expert practitioners, and we can do it ourselves. But it's amazing, you know, functional nutrition. I saw hypnosis courses, hypnotherapy, energy healing that you and Dr. Bassam and other practitioners are doing. And I think this is the best altruistic message that comes out of Illuminations. Thank you so much, Nirja. It's, like I said, it's an honor to have you today and to be speaking so openly about really the toughest kind of questions that people ask. And I'm happy to know you. And I hope we connect again in the future.
thank you so much, Roger, for having me over here, for helping me to spread my voice to others. And it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bless you, Nirja. Thank you so much. Namaste. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. See you.
See you. Take care. Bye bye.